And yes, we are live. Yes, we are live on Let's Think Podcast. I'm your host, Sheikh 7 Islam L. And we're gonna have a beautiful show today. We got some brothers in the building today. But first, allow me to rise, give all thanks and perfect praises unto Allah. Highest honors to his holy prophet. Honors to the forerunner Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to the More Science Temple of America. Honors to my leadership, Brother L. Portercell and Sister Sheik M. Portercell. Honors to that staff. Honors to all past, present, and future leaders in the More Science Temple of America. And I want to say honors to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, honors to the Nation of Islam, honors to all participating in the comprehensive program of uplifting fallen humanity. And we are live. Yes, we are live with our brother Khalil Ali Allah and our esteemed guest, Brother Prime Minister Joshua Asadi Allah. So today's conversation, Allah is man according to Allah. Now we all know this is going to be a controversial conversation, especially amongst those who go in line with consider classical or traditional Islamic stuff. We got some brothers in here today. We're going to deal with the science of it all. When we're dealing with spookism, sometimes they exclude the science of it all. So today we're gonna deal with the science of it all. So first, I want to allow my brother and my co-host for the night, brother Ali Allah, to introduce himself, and then allow the brother Prime Minister to introduce himself, and we're gonna get right into the dialogue. Yes, sir.
Oh, you want me to introduce myself? Oh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They know who
Well,
you are.
I'm Brother Khalil Ali Allah, aka Miliki Farad Muhammad. Miliki Farad. Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, brother Prime Minister,
Yes.
you know, we want to build with you for a second, and talk to us about your travels and the knowledge itself briefly before we get into your dialogue. So the people can understand where you come from, the school of thought you come from, and your perspective on this whole dialogue.
Okay. I'm a former juvenile lifer. I spent 37 plus years inside of Pennsylvania, worst prisons, and I was raised from the death and destruction of self into the knowledge of self under the teachings of Messenger Elijah Muhammad through the stewardship of Brother Minister Farrakhan. One of my greatest mentors is a brother by the name of Alif Allah, who actually made me his assistant. I've studied, the message of teachings intensely. Everything that he wrote that I could get my hands on, and every tape, audio as well as video. I've studied other religions and learned other languages. With a complete focus on Orthodox or so-called Orthodox Islam. I'm not opposed to Orthodox Islam, but I'm definitely opposed to the ignorance that represents itself as Orthodox Islam as a launching pad against the Nation of Islam. I have a lot of friends amongst Orthodox Muslims that I definitely do not want to offend. Those are real good friendships, but like Muhammad saying, speaking the truth, do not annul the truth in order to suit the hearer. So when we speak truth plainly, and we speak it forthrightly. And everybody that knows me knows that's exactly how I am. I was invited to this forum by Maliki Fard, better known as, Allah's angel, Khalil Ali Allah.
Yes,
we done
sir.
had many conversations on this subject in which I've shared certain things with him dealing with the Holy Qur'an, and in particular, the Arabic of the Holy Qur'an that, not only points to, but clearly lays out who and what Allah is and what Allah is not. This is why I say that whenever we approach a subject like this, we opinion has to be divorced. it has to be separated from this conversation. And no one can tell you who I am but me. No one can tell me who you are but you. So since we're talking about a law, we shouldn't be telling people who a law is. We should allow a law to speak for himself. And he does that in both the Bible and the Quran. But there is a concerted effort by some people to keep this knowledge out of the minds of our people, because our people are in most need of this knowledge, because when they get it, it wakes them up. Everybody that really gets this wakes them up. So part of what I want to do today is, push back against those who try to convey that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was just insane. That he pushed forth an ideology that is not congruent with Islam outside of America. And that's not the case. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was either a fraud or he was so on point that our people missed a great opportunity to embrace a wisdom that was crafted specifically for us because we were in most need of it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad made a bold claim. He said that he actually met and walked and learned with God in person for 3.5 years. That's a bold claim. He either insane or he right on point. It's no middle ground there. Ain't no middle ground. You either actually met God face to face, or when you make that statement, you shot the fuck out. I don't believe that the message was shot out. I'm using this language because it's the language of the street.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, the people that we need, when I talk to scholars, I'll talk to them in their language. But right now, we're talking to the street. We're talking to the people who are influenced to be in sheets, thinking that they're representing the prophet, but they take on the ideology of the clan toward their own people. And to prove the point, you find no hostility from Islam Orthodox toward the Dalai Lama. Think about that. The principal teaching of the Dalai Lama is that when he dies, another person is going to be incarnated, and they find this out by making him pick the particular stuff that person had. That's their teaching. They believe that man is God, and that man that's going to be God will manifest himself by finding the things that he had in his previous life when he come back to this one. And you don't have no argument out of the Muslim community toward the Dalai Lama, the way it is toward members of the Nation of Islam. Why is that? I mean, because we stand side by side with a people who has embraced a culture that's abrogating the struggle out of religion. And if I'm fighting an adversary that you're supposed to be fighting, you're going to do two things. You're either going to say, I'm out of pocket, that ain't supposed to be happening, or you're going to say,
peace,
supposing I'm a chump. He proven by standing up against this adversary that I don't have no heart and I'm afraid. Because that's what it comes down to. And when we read the real language of God in the Quran, that's how he talks. When he goes against that false God, he don't bite his tongue. God called a false God a pussy. That's in the Quran. Surah 7, ayat 194, 195. He said, those who you call upon besides God are slaves just like you. You'll find that in the English and the Arabic. He says, do they have hands to take hold with? Do they have feet to walk with? Do they have eyes to see with and ears to hear with? He said, go get your false God and come against me. And if you prevail, grant me no respite. Now, who you say that to? Think streetwise. Somebody come up to you and they say, I'm going to go get my man. And you say, who your man? And he say, so-and-so. And you say, that pussy? You going to go get him against me? I tell you what, even if y'all overcome me and have me on the ground grade, blow my brains out, and I ask for respite, don't give it to me. This is God's attitude against false belief. You just told me you get ready to go get nobody. You're going to go get a no one. Why should I fear that? This is the Quran. How it's supposed to be taught. How Prophet Muhammad taught it to the Arabs when they was fighting against the Quraysh. That engendered them to have courage against the people who put them under their thumb. Where that Quran at? That's not what they give us when they give us this. When they give us this, you know what they say? Prayer, fast, pilgrimage. Everything else, they're like, don't worry about it. Prayer, fast, pilgrimage. All the other stuff in here that teach you how to beat your enemy, they say that's abrogated. Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. Like we was talking in the queue before we came out, the Holy Qur'an starts with identifying an enemy. God said, bow. Iblis said, nah.
He did.
For a second. Can you see me?
Yes, sir. I can see you.
Yeah,
All right. I'm trying to get back on the screen.
and I just want to put it on record. This brother, the Prime, actually used to teach the Salafis Arabic.
Yes.
Inside the penal institution.
Yes. For years.
He taught the Salafi Muslims Arabic.
Yeah.
Inside the penal institutions. Also
wrote
put
manuals on it and everything.
Absolutely.
With my own hand.
Absolutely.
So I'm not against Orthodox Islam. Or what's called Orthodox. We call it Islam prior to Islam today. Ain't nothing Orthodox about that.
The only thing that speaks to is growth and development and expansion of consciousness.
Yeah. You got a 1960 Benz, and I got a 2014. Still a Benz. And you want to make it appear as yours better because yours older. Bullshit. Especially when it's not answering the problems that we face in society. Back to the point. God starts off in the Quran by identifying an adversary, telling us that this adversary is our enemy. He say, grant me respite to the day they raised. God said respite then is granted to you. That's an armistice. It's a ceasefire. God said, I ain't gonna crush you right now. I'm gonna give you time. I'm gonna let them learn who you is on their own. But as soon as they wake up to who you is, I'm gonna give them all the support and ammunition they need. This is why you always have in the backdrop of Islam that they fight against the coming of Allah. All Muslims believe Allah gonna come. They just try to redefine how he gonna get here and what he gonna look like. Because they've been taught to do that. Imagine,
so let me ask you.
Imagine.
Let me ask you. Go ahead. My apologies.
Right on this point, God. Imagine your mom and pop separate, and you never met your dad, but you always heard about it. You heard the things that he was doing. You're like, I like to meet this cat. And your mom say he coming. Now, everybody that don't want you to meet your dad, they gonna try to redefine who your father is. They're gonna change the description of what your father, because they don't want you to meet him, because they don't want you to be like him. And this is the argument that's made against the nation of Islam. Y'all trying to make yourself like God. The Christians said the same thing. I mean, the Jews said the same thing to Christians, to Jesus. They said, for good works we stone you not, but you being a man, maketh yourself God. That was their argument. Jesus said, isn't it written in your law that he called y'all gods? He said, if he called them gods, to whom the scripture cannot be broken, then why y'all got a problem that I say I'm the son of God? That was Jesus' argument. Our argument is this. Hear this clearly and plainly, because I'm going to say it as many times that it needs to be said. God walks, talks, breathes, sings, and is a man. Every time you look at the black man, you looking at God. Whatever state he in, you looking at God. Because he is in the image and likeness of God. That's who the original man really is, God. If I got my image and my likeness from God and I'm a man, then I'm not the original, I'm a copy. God is the original man. And he said it himself. He said, Surah 30, ayat 30. Look at the creation that Allah has created, established by his handiwork. He said the fitra of Allah is the fitra of man. The hell does fitra mean?
Nature.
Does it? Is it a composite? Is it composed of something? Because you just defined who you are and you connected it to man. We're trying to give you the composition of God, and they tell you God is not composite. So what you're doing when you say he's not composite, you decomposing him. But you don't want to come out and say that because people be like, why would you decompose God? Why would you make God into nothing and then say he's something? Does that make sense? Think about this. Does it make sense to say that the supreme creator of everything exists nowhere? And because he can't exist in his creation. So he's nowhere.
In the Holy Qur'an,
nothing is like him. No atoms. He's not composed of anything. It's beyond your comprehension. Yet you comprehend him enough to tell me about him. Does that make sense? This is your excuse. Your excuse is you can't comprehend God. So if you can't comprehend God, how you telling me about him? How you telling me what he's not? Muhammad said, a man who teaches that which he does not know could be charged with lying to the people. So every time you talk to someone other than the nation of Islam, ask them a simple question. Do you understand and know who and what God is? And if their answer is no, no one can, they don't have the right to speak anymore in this conversation. Shut the fuck up.
You know, in the Moorish Temple of America, the Holy Qur'an, Jesus said was written to say that the God I serve is everywhere. Sound like, you know, Allah's seen and heard everywhere. That's what it sounds like to me.
It sounds like it.
You know, it sounds like it, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, you know, bro, you keep going. Hey, I'm enjoying this. Keep going, bro.
Yeah.
Go.
Brother Khalil, you want to say something? Because I could jump right back into
No,
this.
I'm listening. No, I'm listening.
Surah 5, right? Ayat 73. It's often translated by those who want to hide God's reality as the Trinity, right? This is what it says. Certainly they disbelieve who say Allah is the third of three. There is no God but God, the one God, right? So they say that applies to the Trinity. Again, I say bullshit because I understand mathematics. You didn't say those who make God into three are disbelievers and farthest astray. You said those who make God the third of three. So my focus is on the third. So if you say it's the Trinity, what is the Trinity? The Father, the Son, and what?
The Holy Ghost.
Which is the third of them? If I say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, which is the third of them? Is it the Father? Is it the Son? Or is it the Holy Ghost? What's the third of three?
I mean, in that essence, in that logical thinking, they could pick either one.
No, they can't. Mathematics tells you with precision, explicitly, who they talking about. It's the third of the three.
So
not the second, not the first, the third.
It got to be the spirit then.
So God is saying, I'm not spirit. And anybody that make me a spirit, do not believe. And how we know this is the case? We know this is the case because he breathed in the atom. Breathe. I know what breathing is. I know how to breathe. I know what you need to breathe. So we have a God that can breathe, but he don't have no lungs. We got a God that can breathe. He don't have no nose and no mouth, but he breathing. Again, I say bullshit.
Oh, no. Because you know what they'll say pertaining to that. They'll say he breathes, but he don't breathe like us.
And again, I say bullshit because the Quran say they cannot bring you a question for which we have not already provided you the best answer. We previously seen where in arguing against false belief, God said they don't have hands, they don't have feet, they don't have eyes, and they don't have ears. Now we see he breathes. What more we need? We done psychologically put this person together right in front of you. Let's go deeper then, in case you are still confused. Surah 34 ayat 22, what does it say? Again, God is making an argument against false gods. You know why this is important? Because God can't make an argument against something being false that could be used against him. If he identified these things as false, then the opposite has to be true with him. If a false God doesn't have, he has to have. Does that make sense? He says, say, call upon those whom you assert besides the law. They control not the weight of an atom in the heavens or in the earth. The Arabic there say, la yamlikum. It means to possess. He says, your false God doesn't possess the weight of an atom in the heavens or in the earth. So what's the smallest thing in creation? An atom. And then the parts that make up the atom. So if I take a single atom from any point or place in space and time, what's left in its place? How about this, if that's too difficult? Imagine we take all atoms everywhere and we get rid of them. What's left?
Nothing.
You don't got no matter. You don't have anything.
So if nothing is left where there is no atoms, do we call that nothing God? This is what they do. I asked the brother one day, I said, bro, I want to talk to you about this, but I don't think you really want answers. He said, no, I sincerely do. I said, all right, I don't want to argue with you. I said, but what you believe in is a fairy tale. He said, how can you say I believe in a fairy tale? I said, let me point this out to you. Is God like man? He said, no. I said, is God from the earth? He said, no. I said, is God in heaven? He said, yeah. I said, is heaven in space somewhere? He said, yeah. I said, is the people in heaven like the people on earth? He said, what do you mean? I said, are they biological? He said, no. I said, so we have a place in space called heaven where there's beings different than us. I said, you just described to me an extraterrestrial as God. No, that's not what I'm saying. No, that is what you're saying. Whether you accept it or not, you just put God in space some damn where on a planet different than ours. But you don't want to accept that you believe in an alien. Because if you say that out loud, people are going to think you crazy. So
no,
you're
the prophet
talking abstract.
And the prophet know what Joel is teaching. He said heaven and hell are not above or below, but within. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. There's a curious verse in the Bible that says, you know, everybody refer to it, but they refer to the wrong thing. They say God was walking in the garden looking for Adam. Right? And they say, see, he walking. That's not what I looked at. What I looked at is the fact that they described the environment.
And they described
walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Why the hell was the state of the weather in the garden important in your description of God unless you wanted to tell me something? Wesley Muhammad said, he said that the prophet in the vision, he not only saw God in his form, he said he reached out and touched him and felt the coolness of his skin.
In the cool of the day, right?
In the cool of the day, bro.
Yeah.
If that's not a cookie, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We
man.
just cannot make God other than what he says of himself. Wherein does God say he is this person you describe that's not composed of atoms or anything that's in this creation, and that he can exist in a place which is by your definition nowhere? Where is that at? You not sound like a Ponzi scheme.
Nowhere is not equated to everywhere.
I think that
even
is
if you remove all the atoms in creation, you know what you have? Empty space. You still have a place. It's a distraction, bruh. It's a distraction that allows a person to be spiritually and psychologically pickpocketed of their intelligence. It's tantamount to theological prostitution. Think about that. You get turned out by a pimp and you're willing to sell everything that you have, hoping that in the final analysis of things, that's going to be your man. And this is how people have done us with religion.
Practice.
This is why I say Satan was born in religion. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. He rose up and matured in this religion. And the greatest act of his maturity is that he got most of the people on the planet thinking that God is nothing like us. And as long as he can do that, we remain asleep. I have a secret to tell you about God that you can find for yourself. You can examine it for yourself. And whether or not you accept what it reveals will determine whether you'll be asleep for the rest of your life or you'll wake up and realize this fairy tale that has been, put across to the entire world in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. That got people looking outside of themselves and everybody else, for this mythical, supernatural person that can do anything when he wants. While everybody else that preached that is living it up. The Arabs got so much money, they could literally fund everybody. And the proof of it is, history tells us what Mansa Musa did. And all he had was gold. He changed the standard everywhere he went. This is a black man, though. You got oil money in the trillions. You can literally come over to America and buy every company and run it the way the prophet said. But that's not what you're going to do, because you believe in a different prophet. You don't believe in the PR prophet. You believe in money prophet. The PRO.
FIT.
Absolutely. You don't believe in the PH, you believe in the PR. And what you do with what you had speaks volumes. I asked a Sunni brother one day on my way to my other job. I stopped in the store. I said, I'm confused. He said, what are you confused about? I said, you selling the Quran? And he's like, yeah, brother. I said, the Christians get the Bible out for free. He said, well, we ain't Christian. I said, you ain't Muslim either. Who authorized you to sell the word of God? You show me in the Sunnah where the prophet sold the Quran. Then I looked around in the store and I start seeing wraps for blunts. I start seeing everything in the store that goes against Islam. And then I thought, I say, he didn't even give me the greetings. So you say you believe in the goal of Islam, but everything that you do is against that goal. That don't make sense. And the only reason why the people who are amongst them don't challenge it, because you don't have the proper concept of what God is. So if you knew the reality of what God is, that ain't nobody coming to help you but you, that God doesn't change the condition of a people till they change it themselves, because God is not outside of you, God is inside of you, and they don't want you to know that about yourself. You would get up and change your circumstance. You would stop everybody. They take, when I was in prison, they used to take the nutty bars and the little Debbies out of the box and sell them on the table. Now that's what all the Arab boys do. You walk into a store, they sell you one nutty bar for $1.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, 2 of them and you bought a whole box. What the hell? Where does that come from in Islam, where you come from a country that's economically rich,
but then they'll say
to a religious movement that got all the oil money in the world, and you
then they say
who every time we created our own society and was getting economically up, white folks ran in there and tore that shit down. This is why so many people, as soon as you talk about creating another Black Wall Street, they say, white folks ain't gonna let you do that. Because the history is every time we did it, they massacred everybody. Oklahoma wasn't the only Black Wall Street. That shit caught on like fire all over the country. And everywhere it popped up, they ran in there and they brutalized the people, burnt the houses down and everything. In fact, they show you this. Right. They show you this in the Watchmen movie, TV series, when it first come on. They literally show you the Europeans going inside of a society where we were self-sufficient and killing everything moving, kids, everything. And you don't have nothing to say about that? You look toward this invisible person to help you.
I mean, when we look at it, man, they still enslaving us now.
Yes, they are.
Well, they're enslaving us because we allow it.
Yeah.
Slaves are enslaved.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality of it, right? And because of the disbelief in the reality of God,
right,
is the main reason why such things can take place.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate reality, you know. As long as you believe in a mystery God, you are going to suffer from a psychological trauma.
And you're going to shift the burden of that responsibility over to someone else. As long as you believe and you have hope that you're going to have a better life after you die, then you don't see the need to fight for a better life while you're here.
Absolutely.
That's the greatest drug sold in this country.
Do you know that under the release of the CIA and their documentations from the Freedom of Information Act, they had on their own map and movement was that the Nation of Islam was not to be received as Muslims by either the Eastern Muslims and the African Muslims. Do you know what the FBI stated was the #1 threat? There was the teaching that the black man is God.
Yep.
Now, I'm not crazy, but to keep things under a logical basis, right?
Right.
Would the enemy want for you that will nourish you and free you, or would he want for you that for which will devour you and enslave you?
Absolutely.
Let's take case in point, right? The Nation of Islam, as taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was very successful. It was able to destroy the usage of terms like Negro and color.
Yeah.
Single-handedly.
Right.
Through this same individual, he was able to change the direction into one of upliftment and a whole cultural view for which will bring black people back into an upright state. There has not been another Islam that has come to this country that has had such success with black people than the teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Right? Nah, Brother Josh done disappeared.
He'll be back. We got him.
Yes, sir. So let me tell you something, God, and how deep this is, right?
Yes, sir.
Inside of Islam, the Salafi brothers, and some Sunni Muslims as well, Sunni Muslims, but this is known among scholarship within it, clearly states that Adam was in the image and likeness of Allah. This is clear in the Hadith, right? Are you there, God?
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Let me turn my demonstration on, bro.
Yeah, because I don't see you. I just gotta make sure you're still there when I'm speaking
here.
on it, right?
I'm still here.
So in the Hadith itself, it states that Allah, that Adam, and I'll cite it for you. That's Sahih Bukhari 62:27 and Muslim 28:41. Allah created Adam in his image, and he was 60 cubits tall. When he created him, he said, "Go and greet the group of angels who are sitting and listen to how they greet you. For that will be your greeting and the greeting of your descendants." So we're going to stop there. Now, what usually they attempt to do is to tell us that that is not to be taken literally.
Right.
And they use to dismiss it the state that Adam, it was 60 cubits tall, right? which will be equal to 90 feet tall, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's misunderstanding that, because 60 cubits is symbolic of completeness or perfection. So Adam was made in perfection, right? Incomplete. You got that same thing with inside the biblical tale, right? Of the completeness of Adam, speaking on a spiritual level, and then Jesus being the second Adam in his perfection, right? Now, this is the interesting part of that. If Adam is made in the image and likeness of Allah, right? In his form, right? Whether it's spiritual or physical, why would he pick a name as Adam in the Arabic language that signifies dark complexion? That's the hadith. Let me show you. This is the hadith itself, right here. It says, I'm gonna read it to you, so we can get it very clear. Is this it right here? Oh, right here. When used to describe people, Adam means very asma. The word, if I'm pronouncing it right, the word asma symbolizes someone with a hue, a complexion, a dark complexion. So Adam was beyond asma, meaning he was very dark. So this black man was complete, perfect, and made in the image of Allah. So that's not something that's far-fetched. When the Nation of Islam make these type of statements, it is not that it does not exist in Islam. It's that it's ignored in Islam. But it's there for anybody to read it.
See, what happens is, right, and I'm speaking from a more Science Temple of America view, we'll talk about the science of the first physical man. Not going to go into all of that. However, when we square, you know, as we say in the more Science Temple of America, when we square these lessons with the lessons of the Bible, the Quran, we speak about this first physical man in whom Allah, which is symbolic to Allah going into his creation, right? Who is this first physical man if he's not Allah?
Well, the Quran is very clear that man is the Khalifa. Now, what they'll try to do is mistranslate Khalifa, which clearly means successor or one that stands in the place of a thing. So if you're going to be the Khalifa of anything, then you're the successor of that thing. Then you also accumulate the powers of that thing and the authority of that thing. No more than a president. The president of the United States have a successor. Right? So first you might have a Barack Obama. Then you came and you got Biden. Biden didn't have less power than Barack Obama. Trump doesn't have less power than Biden. They come in with the same authority, the same power. The only difference of those individuals is their ability, according to the quality of their heart and development of their consciousness, to what level they can utilize that power and authority.
Yeah, how they willed it.
How they willed that power and authority.
That's really the meaning of the Surah Ikhlas when it say he begets not nor is he begotten. Because
go into that,
it's
please.
something coming from you which is different. Right? You know, when you talk about walada, right? It's to produce something from you, but that which comes from you is not like you. So when you say walem yulid, walem yulad, right? You're negating something coming from you that's not divine. Now, and the reason why people miss it, right, is again, I'll take you to the 83rd Psalm, where Jesus referred to the Pharisees and the Sadducees when he said, for I did many good works amongst you. For what do you stone me? They said, for good works we stone you not, because you being a man make yourself God. And he said, is it not written in your law that I have said ye are gods? That's an important linguistic focus right there that most people don't pay attention to. You know,
Absolutely.
the Arabs attribute that the Quran is the purest language, and that's why it was chosen. So you have to ask yourself something. When Muhammad preached Tawheed to the Arabs, one God,
oneness. Yeah.
why is it that they comprehended his meaning of one God as he was uniting all the gods into one? See, we don't pay that no mind, right?
Yeah.
They say it's a strange thing. Does he make the gods one God? They seen him as uniting all of their beliefs into one. In fact, when we use the word Tawheed, that's an abbreviation. It's an abbreviation for Tawheed or Rubia, which is the unity of lordship. And most people miss that. Just like I told a good brother of mine, and I was like, I'm gonna share something with you, right? And I want you to use all of your intelligence as long as it takes you to comprehend this, because this is what the Quran calls purity. Ikhlas, right? Kuhu Allahu ahad, Allahu samad.
Yes.
Okay, now let's look at that. Give me the first verse.
Kul huwallahu ahad.
Now give me the last verse.
Lam yulid walam yulad walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad.
Okay, you added a couple verses.
Yeah.
But it's kufu or one ahad.
Kufu one ahad, yes.
All right. Now give me the English of the first verse.
It says, He Allah is one, the only.
Okay, now give me the last verse in English.
He begets not, nor is he begotten, and there's none like unto him.
Last verse.
Well, there's none like unto him.
Okay. I noticed you didn't say one in the last verse. The Arabic says ku Allahu ahad. It says kufu or one ahad. So there's a had in both verses.
Yeah.
So why isn't one at the end of the verse? Let's look at that. I take issue with the scholarship of today coming out of Mecca and all of the Islamic countries, right? In the same way that Prophet Muhammad took issue with the scholarship that came out of Israel during his time period. In the same way Jesus took issue with the scholarship coming out of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. You know why? Because they were compromised. They joined hands with the enemies of God who haven't stopped being enemies. Think about this, right? What we call in America democracy. Is it pro-God? Is the religion in America centered on the guidance of God itself?
No.
Or does it pretend to be?
No, it pretends to be.
Okay. The Muslim world is in cahoots with them. They're allies.
That's right.
So
I mean, that's a fact.
Allying with someone who used God's word to put me in slavery. Why should I ever listen to you? You compromised.
Oh man.
You're an ally. That's like I seen on TV. I seen on TV. We're gonna get to Ikhlas in a second. I seen on TV when I was in Hull in Dallas. I seen on PBS Muslims praying with Nazis. Nazis in full Nazi uniform, and they make a salat. I seen sultans sitting with Hitler. You can look this shit up. So when we were in slavery in America and the Caliphate was up and running, what emissary came and say, no, y'all gotta let them go?
Not a one. Not a one. Not a one.
I'm telling you that when Iblis in the Quran asks for respite, that's an armistice. You gotta hear this. And
he said, grant me respite.
Occurred between God and Satan, where Satan negotiated where God wouldn't touch him for a time. But as soon as God gave his word, knowing that God is a person of his word, he then said, since you put me in the wrong, I'm going to prove these jokers over here don't deserve nothing. I'm going to take most of them with me. So we got an adversary that never stopped being our adversary. And we looking for allies. Yahweh Muhammad and Master Prophet Muhammad pulled us out of everything this society dumped into us. We were saturated with that stuff. And he siphoned it out of us. He took prostitutes and made them virtuous. He took pimps and dope fiends and cleaned them up. He took our neighborhoods that were scums and transformed it so that it was beautiful living quarters. And when people broke off from what he gave us and sought allies other than the ones he told us to go get, they went and got allies with the people who were in bed with these people. And even though we got Mazes and everything coming from that school of thought, look at what's going on in our communities. It's not a guidance that has light that brings people out of darkness. That light that they got is the same shit that's going on in Vegas. Vegas is a city of sin.
And it's full of light.
All the lights in the world.
I ain't never been there, and I know.
Now, hear this. Hear what I'm saying. Vegas is a city of sin. And that sin is done under all the lights in the world. That light is darkness. So we understand how a person could propagate light and do nothing but sin. And how you can be over here propagating that you're pushing God's message, prayer, fasting, pilgrimage. Prayer, fasting, pilgrimage. And cut everything out that has something to do with struggle. So now look at this. I asked you about these two words. A had in the beginning, a had at the end, right? Okay. So what does it says?
Y'all go ahead. I'm gonna do something right quick. Y'all demonstrate. Go ahead.
Okay. It says Walam Yakuluhu Kufa Wanahad. We know wad means and. Lam is a particle that negates. Yakul means to cause something to be. Lahu means like him. La is a prepositional particle, right? And hu is a suffix ending applying to a person, never to things. Right? Then we have the word kufu. What does kufu mean? Kufu means to make something equal. To cause something to be leveled up with. on balance and par. And then you have the word ahead. They translate it, and none is like him. They translate the first verse, Hu Allahu Ahad, as say he Allah is one. I'm asking, how do you have a surah that uses the word ahad twice, but you only see the word one time? Why do you remove that word from the last verse in translation? This is what the Muslims accuse the Christians of doing, and the Jews of contaminating the book by hiding part of it and only revealing the part that they want that controls the narrative. Would you be surprised to look up the word ahad in Arabic and find out that it meant anyone?
It meant who?
Yes. That's the thing about ahad in shay. Shay means something, a thing. Ahad means anyone. Someone. It's indiscriminate. So now listen to the verse if translate correctly. Say, he, the God, is anyone? Wait a minute. See, if I read that, I'd be like, anyone can have the power of God? Fuck the mutants, the Avengers. This is some real shit here. This is real power. You just told me that the purest reality is that what I'm believing in, I can be. And why didn't you tell me that? See, we think Europeans in this country took parts of the Bible out and only gave us those parts that complemented slavery. All the parts in the Bible that talked about struggle, they took those joints. And we think they didn't do that with the Quran. We think
why wouldn't they?
They didn't gloss over all the stuff that would make somebody under their foot that was a eunuch to them realize they didn't have to just be Bilal.
Bilal was somebody too, though. When we look into
I can't hear you, bro.
Islam, you can't hear me? Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's a powerful thing there. Because we keep allowing ourselves to surrender to someone else's understanding of this book. Instead of learning it ourselves. We sharp, man. I saw a brother on the internet who said, we dominating everything that we get into. And we only at 10% of our brain power. We're the worst part of ourselves right now in the world compared to what our people were when you come into contact with our history, our real history that has been hidden. And at our worst, we still run circles around these people.
Islam.
I'm not anti-Puffy. I'm not pro-Puffy. But if he is as wickedly into the debauchery that they claim, he was so far down on the moral scale that they present him. Even in that state, he was dominating in your world. Can you imagine a person that has morals, has cultural centeredness and focus, gaining all the things that he had and what they could do with it? That's a fear among them. that someone will come along and clean this planet up. Look at what happened during COVID. Everything went back to being normal. Everything started purifying. As soon as you moved humans out of the equation, the animals felt safe. They was going everywhere. The water got pure. The air got pure rapidly. Rapidly. With nothing in its way. So that everything that we currently see that's mucked up.
Can you hear me?
It's because of the mentality of the people who's in charge.
Khalil, you hear me?
And when we realize that, and we can extract that from so-called books that's meant to guide us and see the best part of ourselves and become the gods that we are, then everything in our path becomes heaven.
Hey, yo.
The only time we think about hell is outside of what we create.
Absolutely.
Other than that, why make heaven a gated community?
I mean, you know the prophet Noble Drew Ali said we create our own heaven and our own hell.
Heaven is a gated community. They want to protect people inside from what's outside. That's a powerful truth, man. The Nation of Islam is a supreme example in this society. You ain't got to mention us. You ain't got to put us in no books and give us credit for the stuff that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did. Y'all erase the nation out of fear of how white folks gonna look at you. But all the things y'all claim to want to do, we done did. And as soon as someone came along and started erasing our communities, they didn't go back to what they were. They worse. We don't even think about terrorism abroad anymore. Terrorists live in our communities. Our kids is not safe because we put this spooky shit out there. I watched a boy blow a joker head off right outside the mosque. I seen online a dude leap over 3 people in sajda and stab the imam up or Amir. That stuff was unheard of. It's something wrong about the guidance that we have when it's no longer a protection to the communities that it was meant to guide. They shot up a Eid feast. Are you kidding me? They shot up a Eid feast in downtown Philly. Twice.
Man, I was supposed to go there last year.
You didn't take pause and say, wait a minute. We got to be doing something wrong if they felt that damn comfortable to come amongst us with that stuff, with kids and women to get their ops. That's unheard of, man. As a member of the Nation of Islam, brother, let me tell you, my tears is like sweat because we have a brother that has been missing for a week now. And where the hell is everybody at? Are you kidding me? This is the brother that was in the ministry of the Nation of Islam. And what we get is, what branch is he from? What? It's one flag. I don't care how many rooms it is. It's one flag. Sun, moon, and stars. and we so divided. Satan has proven his point when he said he would get almost all of our people. There's only a handful. Mr. Ali put something out a months ago, right? He said only 5% of the world know the reality of God. And then inside of that, he said it's actually less than 5%.
Said it was 2%.
It doesn't benefit you to know that God is not a mystery if you ain't doing shit.
Hey, Tim,
the world is yours.
Have you heard?
I can hear you.
This is our world.
Can you hear us, Brother Joshua?
People destroyed around us every day.
I don't think you can.
Because we distracted.
Can you hear us? We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Well, you can't hear us.
Yeah, can you hear us? You. Can you hear us?
Hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Y'all can hear me?
Can you hear
me? Right.
I don't know why it's happening that way, but let the brother build.
No, go and build, God. I'm listening.
Yeah, I can't. Yes.
All right, it's okay. Go ahead. Go, God. Go.
Yeah, that's the devil, bro.
Yeah, go.
You ain't allowed to talk like this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Unfiltered about what's going on in the world. All of a sudden, mics being silent, and you know, it's an amazing thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing thing. I would give both my arms to be in Temple 12 every day. No problem. I just refuse to go somewhere where there's even a small bit of hostility or misunderstanding. If you're uncomfortable around me, I'm not going to come. Messenger Elijah Muhammad said you can have a university at 3 or under a tree. I don't preach against no one that raises a flag that's in harmony of our struggle. I don't care what that flag look like. If the purpose of that flag is you identifying our enemy and willing to work together, you recognize the armistice in, hey, it could be red, black, and green. It could be green, yellow, and orange. I'll raise that joint, bro. I taught in the more science, when we didn't have a place to meet, we've never had open arms inside of the penitentiary because we didn't have representatives coming in. So we was like orphans in there. The Moore Science Temple opened up Grand Sheikh Musa, you know what I mean, and Johnny L. They told us come down there, and we demonstrated coming right out there Circle 7. That's why when you say, some people say it's not compatible, I'm like, you tripping. That joint is highly compatible to the nation. Wisdom knows no bias. Wisdom knows no bias.
Yes, sir.
Wisdom is like water.
Yes, sir.
I don't care what you put in it. Kool-Aid, coffee, tea, or milk. You might get lost and only taste that and forget that the water is there, but water is the underground base of everything. That's how we are. I don't look over and see a Moor, man. I see a brother. Yeah, I understand the Moor. I recognize the Moor, but I'm looking at a brother and a sister. That's what we gotta be. There's nothing in this world but us.
That's right.
When we say Allah, what we mean deliberately and not by accident, that Allah is all of us. We can't see outside of that. I can't. I want to punch the mystery God in his mouth. I don't think you heard me. I want to stand in front of him and inch up to him closer and closer just so I could punch him in his mouth.
Yes, sir.
I said the mystery God. I ain't talking about the creator.
Mm-hmm.
I said the God they got us believing in, that got us divided, I want to fuck his ass up.
What you about?
Yo, seriously. I want to do to that false God what the God of the Holy Qur'an wants to do to him. I want to shame him. He said the God that you believe in don't even possess the weight of an atom. He called him no one. He said if he ain't got hands to take a section out the back of my head, if he ain't got feet to kick me in my ass, if he can't see what I'm doing and hear what I'm saying, he said, go get it. I don't have nothing to fear from somebody that can't do those things. Ain't no spirit beating me up. Did you hear what I said? Ain't no spirit beating me up. Wasn't no spirit putting us in slavery. It wasn't no spirit that killed all them brothers and sisters with parades of gunfire, choking brothers out. Ain't no spirit did that. Physical people did that had a spirit of bias and racism.
There you go. That's it.
This is what we got
There
to
you
see.
go.
Ain't no spirit get us out of slavery unless it was words coming from someone. A physical person told us to look at the drinking gourd and then we can follow that to the north and get out of slavery. It was a physical person who taught us law in prison that enabled us to give back our time. There ain't no spirit pop up and put no hole in the wall. Spirits ain't never did nothing for you and me. This is why the Holy Qur'an say, farther astray are those who make the God third of three. He ain't say nothing about the Father and the Son. He said the third of three. You make God into a Holy Ghost. God forbid, man. You forbid. You notice I didn't open up in the name of Allah?
I noticed you
Think
didn't.
about that. I just started talking. I gave the greeting. I ain't open up in the name. You know why? Why would God have to say in the name of someone other than him? He should be saying in the name of me. In my name. Look at the language in the Quran. Your Lord is one God. It don't say, and I am he. There's no God except Allah. Shouldn't it say there's no God except me? Like, how do we not pay attention? Language is all we have. This is language. This was a conversation before it became a book. During the time of the prophet, they didn't have no Holy Qur'an. They had conversation. During the time of Jesus, they didn't have no gospel. The gospel was their conversation. During the time of Moses, before he got 10 commandments, all those other books, that shit was conversation. After they left, they wrote this. The conversations that they had. When you read this, you got to understand it. It's just a conversation, man. And you got to comprehend what's going on.
Hey, yo, man. Hey, look, man. I wish you could hear me, man. God almighty.
Yeah, they zone me out. I can't hear y'all.
I know you can't hear us, man. Like,
hold on, let me see if I can help him with it. Let me call him.
Yeah.
See if I can help him.
I can't hear you either, brother Cat.
I know.
Hey, yo, chat. Yo,
Let me see if I can get him more.
They playing games in the chat. They playing games.
Allah.
All right. Down there, do you see the mute button? It should be down your left side. It's where your image is. It's going to be like in your left corner.
Yeah, I see it.
All right. Is it unmuted?
It's muted now. Can you hear me?
Now let me see if I can hear you. Say it again.
Can you hear me?
I can hear him.
You can hear me. Hold up.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear him.
No, I can't hear you on there.
See, that's the thing. He can't hear me, but we can hear you. This is crazy.
I didn't mute my mic.
I know why they. Hold up, bro. Like, hold on. Let me look. Echo cancellation.
All right, got you.
He had to go back and come back in.
Yeah, let's see if it worked that way.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes these computers and stuff get interesting.
Man, they.
There's something I would like to answer. I had read somebody in the question and answer pew who had asked, when we say is God, that Allah pretty much is man, are we making reference to the physical form? And he's making a statement. He's talking about how much heat and power was needed in order to create the universe.
Indeed.
Right?
It's not.
Let me see if brother can hear me.
I still can't hear y'all.
All right, 1 minute. So, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to call him so he can hear.
So he can hear us.
He can hear us.
Yeah,
all
yes,
right.
sir.
I'm going to leave it like this so you can hear us, right?
All right.
You can answer it that way. So what I'm responding to, yeah, we can hear you clear.
All right, cool.
All right. So in the individual in this question and answer, he said, are we saying that Allah is a physical man? I think his name is Brother McCrary. He says Allah physical man. And he said, because of how, here it is, when you say Allah is man, do you mean he has a physical body like ours? The amount of energy needed to cause the Big Bang is 10 to the 68 power joules. This amount of energy will destroy a human. Okay. We are saying that God, Allah, has a physical form and manifested as the black man.
Right.
And the supreme being on earth, right? And throughout the universe. Now, to make an understanding to that, to go deeper, there is a macrocosm and microcosm of every single thing. That's everything. If you believe that this form is only limited and this form is the whole reality of you, then you will completely misunderstand the full scope of this conversation. Man is only limited by the composition of form and the limitation of the mind. The mind
dictates the level
of your conception and your growth in perception of things. Let's take, for instance, brother, you have a physical form right now. But your physical form, and I always do this demonstration, your physical form is made up of atoms. The atoms that compose your body is made up of smaller particles. No atom actually touches another atom. Therefore, that means that the atom in and of itself, if it can't touch another atom, then that means you can't truly eat food. You can't truly sit on a seat. You can't truly drive a car. You can't truly be just this form because an atom doesn't touch another atom. It is surrounded by an electromagnetic field for which stops that from actually occurring. Then that means that every single expression of touch of what you eat and all of that is based upon your perception. Is based upon the condensing of the mind to experience this existence as you, right? So what were you before this form? Because this form is made up of bacteria, germs, and viruses. That's all that it is. What were you before you entered the womb of your mother? Did you not exist? Were you not already there? Absolutely. Were you not already there? If in the beginning is but Allah, and the only existence in the beginning is Allah, then from what does Allah create existence from? But himself. If you remove these atoms back down into the particles, do you not exist within the particles? Do you not exist within the atoms? If the particles are broke down into an expansive form of matter, do you not exist as the matter? If the matter breaks down to undifferentiation and back into the first order or energy within itself, are you still not there?
Let me add to that, brother.
Yes,
What's the brother's name?
I think the God name is, hold on, Devin McCory.
All right, brother Nikori, let me put this like this, right? The Quran says the wajh, right, of Allah. Everywhere you turn, that's what you find, right? Wajim ha, which means space, right? It's also defined as continents, right? Now, the face is that which stares back at you, right? So we have to understand what we're looking at when we talk about Allah, right? The argument that they make to confuse us about us is Yahweh Muhammad said, Mr. Yaqub taught his followers to contend with us over the reality of God by asking us the whereabouts of that first one who created the heavens and the earth. This Yaqub said that we could not do. Well, we all know that there was one in the beginning who created all these things and do know the day that he does not exist. But through his people, the person of God continues, the wajh. And we have one amongst us with the same infinite wisdom that will bring about a complete change. So let me explain that to you like this. The beauty of light, right, is that it's indiscriminate. You can walk out your house and look up at the sun. You could look past a nightlight and still see the nightlight on. You can see in the daytime while the sun is at its brightest, the lights on your car, right? You can strike a match and hold it directly at the sun. And although the light of the sun will engulf the match, you can still see the light of the match and the sun at the same time, because light doesn't have the need to destroy the existence of other light. That's what we call Tawheed, the unity of Allah. And I'm express that to you in this fashion, right? The Honorable Muhammad said that the person of God continues. If I told you put the light out in the house and you crush the bulb, would that put the light out? You may say yes, but the bulb isn't the light. You could destroy the house, and the house ain't the light. Those are receptacles for the light to shine. Now, the more powerful the light, the greater the receptacle, right? The greatest receptacle of the light of Allah, because the first law of physics is that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So the energy that we're talking to, that scientists is looking for, scientists right now is looking for what they call dark matter. Think about that. They're looking for God and they're looking for dark matter. And he happens to be one and the same. And what he produces is light. The Bible says that, and God said, let there be light. And it was light. Right? But these wasn't the sun, moon, and stars. So what was the light that he created? They take issue with us because we don't only say that we understand and know who God is. We say and preach something which no one else does. The origin of God, creating himself. I asked a brother one day and shut him down. I said, brother, Does God call himself God? Or is that something that we chose to do in order to acknowledge that he has something that we don't have? Where do we get this term God from? And how did God know he was God if he never created anything? The first thing you have to create is yourself. And because you can create yourself, you know you can create everything else. And Allah teaches us he made everything come into existence the way he did. Spooky people tell you that God made you. Spooky people say that shit. The reality is you made your damn self. And I can prove it to you. You look at a sperm cell going through the fallopian tube. When it gets to the egg, it gets in and it seals itself in. That's consciousness. What you know what's more proof of consciousness? How the fuck it know where it was going? If it's not smart. So we're talking about a light inside of this little sperm that's fighting to manifest itself against all odds. And that's what we did when we came into this world. We beat every odds in that small macro universe. Sealed ourselves in the womb, and then we started to regenerate ourselves and build ourselves up. Ironically, the first thing we built was a brain. Scientists did tell you this. There's no greater proof of man being God than look how a baby comes into existence, how it takes over the complete environment of his mom. Your wife or mother or daughter or sister or just somebody you know, when she's pregnant, she'll go out and have a craving for food she ain't never ate in her life. It's like the baby in her womb with a menu. I want to try this. I want to try that. Aware of a world that it ain't even been in yet. So the Bible puts it this way. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning of God. But that's not the most important part, because that confused some people. It's like wordplay. How is the word God? What they mean by that? It's just too much going on there. Make it make sense. The scriptures say he was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. And people missed that. Geno Jennings missed that. He missed the fact that a physical human being walking around in the planet is responsible for the world that he in. He said, how could that be? If he came into the world and the world was already here millions, if not trillions of years ago. Because energy can neither be created or destroyed. Energy is not subject to time. This physical body is. That light bulb is subject to time. But the light bulb is not what we call light. We don't say turn the light bulb on. We say turn the light on. Our problem is, instead of listening to what's coming out of man, we keep focusing on man. We got fat men, thin men, light men, dark men, clean men, dirty men, honorable men, and pieces of pure shit. And yet they still God. Because there's an energy in them that didn't produce itself. It's what you miss when you listen to them when you read scriptures. God said, and he breathed in the atom of his spirit. Wait a minute. I thought y'all said y'all can't separate God from God. Y'all said that shit. I didn't say it. Y'all said God is inseparable. Well, if his spirit is in me and I'm a part of that spirit and his spirit cannot be separated, don't tell me I'm not God. We all are. But we keep looking at the receptacle. The Sunnis, or excuse me, the Sufis have a treatise. It's a treat in literature, right? Allah spoke to one of the pegs, if you will, a Gauth, a great saint, right? And he said, I'm going to tell the people what you believe and they're going to kill you. And he responded back, I'm going to tell the people about your mercy and they'll never pray again. And they both start laughing. You figure that out. There's a lot in that. We're too hard on ourselves, bruh. We've been taught to be that way, to look for everything outside of ourselves as great and not to look at ourselves as great. What on this planet is greater than man? Find it. Prove it. Ain't nothing on this planet can create an environment that take it off this planet. We the only ones can do that. Name me a bird, an insect, or a beast, any type of fish or crustacean that created something around itself and went to the moon, that can remove itself from its natural habitat and still live. Man does that. Man has mastered everything on this planet. And yet, while we was in the garden, as scriptures write it, where we had everything, God determined it is not fit that man should be alone. That we can have everything in this world and still be unhappy. So we needed a second self, and that's our woman. So Messenger Elijah Muhammad said, heaven lies at the foot of woman. Not because physical things can't be our heaven. Physical things will never satisfy us like another mind and spirit outside of us. One of my brothers like to explain it this way, little bro. He said God created man outside of himself so that he can witness himself. Did you hear that?
I can 100%.
God created man outside of himself so that he can witness himself by being himself. So it's not a question of what can destroy us, right? You cannot destroy energy. You can only destroy the receptacles that's there.
Absolutely.
Just one thing to add. Does the teachings of the messenger in regard to the self-creation of God?
I can't hear you, Khalil.
Let me see. I know you can hear me in your phone. 1 minute. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you, God.
You still can't hear me? Oh. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
The messenger teachings in regards to self-creation of God is also taught in with Hinduism in ancient Egypt.
Yes.
1000%. I just wanted to add that before.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The messenger never said this knowledge did not exist. He just simply said it was withheld from the public. You know what I mean? And that we are blessed in this era to be the ones that has been given to first. But the reality of God and who God and what God is has always been known by a segment of the people that's in the world. It just has been a closely guarded secret.
Is it not amazing
So
that
Masons get a bad name?
The same thing.
Yeah, like, they intentionally hiding this secret of who God is from man. No, they're meant to be guardians of it. You know, I think the most sincerest movie is a National Treasure. You know, they had them running around finding all this stuff that they had accumulated and hid. The lie there is the truth. The reality of it, it wasn't the riches that they were hiding. It was the knowledge and information. It's to people who are worthy of it. You know, Sufis have always known who God is and have always taught it in their poems. Khalil Gibran, he said, I believe in perfection, but I believe that it is slow and painful. And when he was talking about perfection, he was talking about fana on fana, the annihilation of the self outside of God. You thinking that you're not a part of God. That when you destroy that and you submit to the will coming from in you that connects you to everything, like the Holy Qur'an and the Hadith say, that God becomes the eye with which you see and the hand with which you hold, so that he manifests through you. That's the key. Master Fard Muhammad came to the shores of North America. And when he came here, brother, with no exaggeration, we were nothing. We literally were nothing. Go back and check it, man. Look at black people during the 30s. We were nothing. We were underneath everybody's foot. We got respect from no one. Master Fard Muhammad came and put himself on the left side of us. And his teaching, which he called the supreme wisdom, it increased our value tenfold. And tenfold more and tenfold more. So much so that even though people don't want to give the Honorable Elijah Muhammad any credit, the reality of it is you give him credit when you talk about Wallace and Martin and Malcolm. Look at his ministers today. Minister Farrakhan is an eagle in a world of pigeons. Salas Muhammad is a hawk. Nasir Maka Hakim. I can go on and on. Mutaquan, the ministers all across this country living the messenger's teachings and having an impact on people. This is a person who only had a 3rd grade education. How does a man with a 3rd grade education produce an organization like his that went underneath of COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program? They threw everything at us to destroy the nation of Islam, and yet we still here. We still here. And the same principle applies to other organizations as well. They teach you not to look at yourself and your experiences so that you don't pay attention to the value that's inside of you. Even without a mentor, we produce rap music. That's some shit we did in the past time. And now it's a global culture. Think about that. You want evidence of God. We're talking about something that first started taking hold and getting noticed in the late 70s. That by the time it got to the 90s, just 20 years later, by the time it got to the 90s, they was talking about it in Dublin. White folks were mimicking rappers, and it's in the culture the whole nine. It produced its own economy. And we talking about people that was asleep. Then when you look deeply inside of rap, you'll see 5%ers pushing rap in different directions. Poor righteous teachers, Grand Poobah, Nas, even Jay-Z. People talking about he in the Illuminati. Jay-Z's a 5%er. Always have been. That's why he's so damn successful. When I was growing up, they had this cartoon that used to come on TV in between cartoons. It was a cartoon commercial. Think about that. And it used to say, a lost angel revealed this to me. It used to say, the best person in the whole wide world is you, and you hardly even know you. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Secret societies make you study for years to learn the truth about God. And when you finally get there, you know what they do? They show you a mirror. They say the person that you've been looking for all your life is the best version of yourself. That's God. God is the best. This is why you can't circumscribe the thoughts of God. It's infinite. It goes on without stop. You cannot circumscribe the mind of God.
Not in no
The
form.
Quran says you can't exhaust God's wisdom. I'm here to tell you, we were still creating things when we were in slavery. Cotton gins and everything to make the work easier. That industrialized this country. Half of you don't even know that the smartphones that's in your pocket, most of the components in them joints was made by black folks.
Most
Pork eating, whiskey drinking, cigarette smoking, black folk. Who don't have a knowledge of themselves to save anything.
Because what? He still had God in him.
4 sisters taught these people how to get up in space when they were stuck. 4 sisters. And when they showed that movie and you see how they was living and what they were going through, they took them through the ringer. At their worst, they still was better than the Europeans who couldn't figure that shit out. And that sister gave them an algorithm that showed them how to get past the barrier and get in space. It's what we do. Even when we don't even have knowledge of ourselves. Imagine what we do when we stop looking for God outside of ourselves and we start acknowledging that God is inside ourselves. Woo-wee.
Woo-wee.
That's something. Instead of us thinking we're going to live in a mansion when we die, imagine if when we looked at the globe or we looked at a map and laid it out on the table, and then we, unlike the Germans who did this and the Americans who did it, we cut up the planet, but not to oppress people, but to bring universal justice, freedom, and equality. We can't be stopped. We at the best of everything because that's what we into. We into basketball, so we can do everything we want with a basketball. You done seen the Globetrotters, and you done seen people do that shit on the real NBA. Now they got our women playing basketball. A lot of them giving up college careers trying to become WNBA. More power to you. Wherever you put your focus, you're going to master it. There's a prophecy among Orthodox Muslims. It's in Kitab al-Irshad, the book of guidance. It's among the greatest signs of Yom Qiyamah and the lesser signs. Tell you how stupid these people are, right? The Young Men's Muslim Association from South Africa, band influenced by the Pretoria back then. You know, they call Africans Kaffir boy and all that stuff, right? They done put in the words of the prophet that one of the signs of Yom Qiyamah is that Kufar Africans will rule the planet. And then while we rule the planet, we had interstellar travel and technology will be at its peak. And then Allah going to destroy the planet. So we just can't do right, huh? Even when we doing good, somebody gonna come along and take that shit from us. No,
bro, we can't make
that's
this,
all you telling me
up.
is
We
you
can't
know
make it
that
up.
we get ready to look right now in Africa, they learning how to run cars with water, how to power TVs without no electric. They coming up with all type of inventions in Africa, medical discoveries and everything, and they don't want you to know because the next technological boom is going to come from our people. You could be left behind, still worshiping Judaism, Christianity, and Islam if you want to. The rest of the African world going to look at you like, you still on that time? Like, damn, man, that's some throwback shit. We would have thought that you had enough of being somebody's slave. That's where we gonna be at. It's a mad science, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a mad science.
Man.
Yup.
Hey, yo, Khalil.
So take these three things with you.
Three things.
One, Allah's not a spirit. He's not the third of three. Two, he got hands, feet, eyes, and ears. And if you ain't got those things, as far as he's concerned, you're a chump. He calls the mystery God a chump. He said he ain't nothing to fear of somebody who don't have hands to hold with, feet to kick with, eyes to see what you're doing, and ears to hear what you're saying. He said, And then the other one is you cannot say that God is outside of his creation. That he's nowhere and no thing. Because Allah in the Quran describes this as a false God. One that doesn't possess the weight of an atom. The true God possesses the weight of an atom. He has weight, shape, density, and he takes up space. Think about that. The Quran says after he finished making creation, he rose above the throne. What? So there was a time when he wasn't on it? He rose above the throne. He took that joy. It's me now. These are things we have to pay attention to. They clues. They clues.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ain't nobody out there but you. That shit scare you, man. You go in a trance thinking that you meeting God, and then you see the person on the throne, and you be like, shit, he look like me. Like he is you, fool.
You know, Honorable Elijah Muhammad said there ain't nothing out.
I can't hear you, Sheikh. What did he say?
He said, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that ain't nothing out in space but the righteous mind.
He said the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said there's nothing floating around in space but the righteous mind.
I'm trying to tell you, that energy, man. That energy. Yeah, ain't nothing but us. You might pray to the sky for something to eat, but the food comes from up under your feet.
Mm-hmm.
I seen brothers when I was in prison make 1,000 rock hots, and I'm not opposed to rock hots, so be it. But before that door locked at 9 o'clock, they was at somebody else's cell asking for some soup and some sausages. They might pray outside of themselves, but when it came to getting it, they went to a person. That's real.
Hey, yo.
A half-truth and a whole lie. A half-truth and a whole lie is the basis of religion. Prayer, fasting, pilgrimage. Nothing wrong with none of them. Prayer is good, fasting is excellent, and pilgrimage to a place outside of this bullshit that's here is a beautiful thing. But if you eliminate from religion the content of struggle, of how you get out of being in a bottom position to rise to the top, then the people that are teaching you religion in that fashion has become your new slave master. Whether they Jews, Christians, or Arab Muslims. For the life of me, I don't get how people can't see that the very first thing taught to you in the Quran is that the first prayer ever made in the history of the world was to man. Think about that. He said, I'm about to create a man. The angel said, what, you gonna cause something to create mischief and bloodshed? He didn't say, no, y'all wrong. He said, nevertheless, I know what you know not. And then when he made this man, he brought him before the angels. Ironically, that term actually means kings, right? He said, tell me the names of these if you're true. He said, the knowledge we have only but what you've given us. He said, Adam, tell them their names. And he named all of them. Then he told them, bow, prostrate. And they prostrated to Adam, to the original man. And the one that refused to prostrate to the original man, we call that joker the devil. Think about that. The very first prayer in the Quran is not to Allah. It's to who he created. The original man, himself outside of himself. And anyone who refused to bow to that original man, we call him Shaitan.
Hey, yo, bro, that's a bomb. We need a bomb.
And proof of it is this. Think about it. If you go to Surah 12, which is the history of Egypt and how they took that joint over, Jacob and his kids, he saw 11 stars in the sun and moon prostrate to him. And in verse 100, when it actually took place, he was sitting on the throne of Egypt, and that's not called shirt. Think about that. They bowed and prostrated to a man who was the Pharaoh, and they don't call that shit shirt. You know why? Because all they focusing on is the success of Joseph. Joseph was a slave. He came up, him and his family. Fuck y'all get on the Egyptian throne. Y'all was going through a family thing. We looked out. Y'all took our shit. How that happened? And like in Star Wars, everybody applauded George. And the sister said, this is how democracy dies, with thunderous applause. This is what we did in reading chapter 12 on Yusuf. We applauded somebody taking our throne. His whole family bowed and prostrated to him. And it's not called shirt. The angels bowed and prostrated. They prostrated to Adam, and it's not called shirt. But to a man, staff for Allah. First of all, that's not even a damn word. It's astaghfirullah. I don't know where y'all got that staffership from.
Astaghfirullah.
Y'all working at a company or something, and y'all trying to be a part of somebody's staff. I'm confused. Make that shit make sense. You know what I mean? You trying to be other than yourself so much that you mispronouncing these words.
Astaghfirullah.
Nah, bro. That's how that shit go.
Hey,
it is not. Yeah, but there are many proofs in the Quran. Just the few I gave you is minuscule, bruh, that show that man is God in the Holy Quran. I'm talking about like with progeny and everything. In fact, we could talk about Yaqub and how another people were produced from us. That's verified in the Quran.
Well, let's come back and do another show so you can do that.
He said, then let's come back and do another show when you teach on that.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, brother Captain wanted to discuss the jinn and what the Holy Quran say about the jinn. Right?
Let's do it.
Most people think that the jinn is some formless spirit that they can't see living in another dimension, right? Bullshit. I call bullshit again, right? Literally. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole chapter on the jinn in the Holy Quran, and they tell you that they people. They have offspring and everything, right? They so much so that they had a scripture that they were adhering to partially. You know what I mean? And some of them who wanted to be righteous heard the Quran and actually embraced it. So that's another story that we can get into on another day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, brother?
Oh shit. I ain't know it was 9:15.
My bad.
Yeah, we've been at it.
Hey, listen. I want to say this.
What the Sheikh say?
He said he want to say this. He about to say something.
All right.
I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna take it out my headphones, and hopefully you can hear. Can you hear?
It's on. Can the brother hear me?
Yeah, I hear that now.
All right.
Hey, this was a powerful demonstration. So I want you to come back. And we're going to demonstrate on the jinn. We're going to demonstrate on the jinn. And we're going to demonstrate on the root of civilization. Because
so you say you're going to discriminate on jinn?
Yeah, I want him to demonstrate on the jinn.
Demonstrate on the jinn? What else?
Sir. Yes, sir. We're going to demystify the jinn.
Because we're going to get into that jinn to the point where they understand that.
Did you know that the jinn was mentioned in the Bible too?
Demonstrate. So you done said it. You got to say something about it now.
We gonna get into that.
Yeah, because one of the things that's going to be touched on and proven is that the jinn had a physical location according to Islamic folklore and history.
Yeah.
It was in Mount Kaf.
Right.
1000%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
what is Mount Kaf?
Well, Mount Kaf is mentioned in the Holy Qur'an. So whole surah on Mount Kaf.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you get into Dulal al-Kanan and where that sun was setting, looking like it was in the mud between two mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And where are those mountains located? And what was the waters and why was they named black? Mm-hmm. All of that means something. You know what I mean? Not ignoring that the Quran named it Mount Kaf, Qaf, which is actually short from Qafqaz, which is Qafqaz, which is actually Caucasus when translated into English. And that's an Arabic word, you know. So we gonna get it in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we
man.
definitely gonna get it in.
We gonna get it in.
You shouldn't even said that, because now I'm like, yo, let's go. But we got it. Yeah, I ain't
Yeah,
gonna keep
most
you.
definitely. What you understand is, and it's not the black Muslims' fault as far as the Salafi and Sunni. What begins to happen is whenever something comes to us, then they dictate and tell us how to think, how to see things, and all of that, a reference, right? So that's one main thing they have to do is stop you from thinking for yourself. But I understand that because the Arabs that's in Saudi Arabia are friends with the Western world. They're friends with white people. They was put in position by the enemy. British intelligence, CIA, and all of them put them into position for a certain power because that has always been the position of the governments of the West is to conquer Islam. That's how come the Khalifa was removed, which was with the Turks and then the Saud.
No one gave them license
right.
to do is to advocate, right?
Yeah, so they removed them out of the way and put the Saud family. But when you don't know the history of what's really going on, you get in a problem. So when they teach you, they're not going to teach you Islam to let you understand that in the Holy Qur'an is your history, or that there's a racial war occurring in the book. And see, all of that is being ignored. You know what I mean? And they'll just try to put you on the religious aspect of it, for which they can manipulate and interpret, because they're not, because when you look at their history, they're not hiding necessarily their history. It's more important to hide ours.
Right.
So
everybody else is allowed
to have a history. They're trying to hide our history.
Except for us.
For us. So they trying to hide our history.
That's a prerequisite for you actually.
Absolutely.
Embrace it. You got to give up your culture.
You got to give up your culture. And then they want to ignore the fact that the jinn was described with a color.
Yeah.
And they were described as being red.
Yeah.
And when you get into a classical Arabic text, red is the complexion that we gave white people.
Right.
Because they had rosiness as blood rose to their faces.
That's one of the meanings of Adam.
Right. So we need to
get Adam is actually a conjunctive term.
Absolutely. Right. We talking about the Adam of the biblical text at that
time.
Right. So we going into something and we gonna prove what they are, since they say the messenger was incorrect. No, what it is, they're not interpreting the Quran in accordance with you are seen. They're interpreting it from a religious perspective that you are non-existent in.
Yeah, it's called tahrif, right?
Yes,
it means to alter words
or to change
meaning in order to suit a particular agenda. Yep. This is why
I say that
charge that the prophet made toward the Christians and the Jews, right? Then during Jesus' time, he said the same thing about the Pharisees and the Sadducees, that y'all changed the word of God in terms of what its intent was. So if you're now aligned as a Muslim with the societies and the religious elements that did those things and they haven't altered their behavior, then no one has a right to listen to you. You shouldn't be interpreting religion for me. You collaborating with the people who the book say did these things knowingly. You go in Dubai, everybody that went to Dubai say this. They say it's clean, you know, that you can leave money around and people got all this, but they say the nightlife is a brothel. It's a brothel. So it's like, I watch Formula One race cars, and every time they win, they got bottles of champagne the size of human beings. And they breaking these bottles over to cold alcohol.
Cold
This
alcohol.
is a Muslim country.
Absolutely.
It ain't non-Muslims doing this. It's people in full jelly bears and everything. I'm like, cut it out.
Damn, made me want to take
I remember
mine
a boy told me, you ain't allowed to have pictures in Islam. I wrote to the embassy when I was in jail. I wrote straight to New York and Washington, D.C. and asked the embassy to send me newspapers from all of those countries in English and Arabic. They got a press section. That's what they for. They sent these papers to me, and I said, I thought you said they don't have pictures. And they was like, no, they don't. I showed them the papers. Bruh, it's advertisement all through these joints. In the news section, they got pictures of what's going on. That's pure Arabic right there. They showing the country, people that's in the country. Y'all making shit up. Stop playing with religion. Religion is supposed to be a vehicle for liberation. God's message to Moses was freedom, because that's what his people needed. If God would have sent a message to Moses that told them, obey your masters and stay in slavery, I'd have punched the shit out that guy. I'm sorry,
brother,
you lost your mind.
Brother, we needed to see some of them articles.
Jesus' message, they were underneath Roman authority. They were colonized. They were suffering from injustice.
Yes,
the
sir.
Romans criminalized everything that the children of Israel was doing. So Jesus came with a message of justice.
Absolutely.
During Prophet Muhammad's time, justice and equality was an issue, but they had, justice and freedom was an issue, but they had a greater concern: the inequality of women and the poor. So Prophet Muhammad's message of Islam at that time was equality. He took all the dismissed, the despised remnants of society and pulled them all together and made them equal and created society on the principles of freedom, justice, and equality. That's what Islam was. If you got an Islam that's not intimately dealing with the freedom of a people being oppressed, with the justice of a people who are given no justice, and equality amongst the people who experience inequality with people in their own neighborhoods. Everybody come amongst us, act like they better than us. So the message that we have to get from God has to address these issues. If it's not addressing those issues, it's not true God is a God. I don't care what you call that shit. God answers the needs of a people. When Messenger Elijah Muhammad came to us, he came with freedom, justice, equality, and that's what he called Islam. That's the Islam he preached. Look at his teachings. This is a black man who stood up and spoke for us boldly when our men was afraid to. He put the muscle back in our body.
That's a fact.
He put the virtue back in our women. His son came along and took it away. Messenger Elijah Muhammad made us men again and respected the world over. They didn't like what he taught because they couldn't exploit us no more. We had our own ships, our own planes, our own bank. We had our own farms. We had import, export, and we had contracts with other countries. We navigated past everything. And the Europeans today is child's play compared to the Europeans when the messenger was here. And he ran circles around them dudes.
Just that he was building a hospital. I know. Just that.
Just
His
that.
dad, he was building a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And when his son took over, one of the things that must be understood before the economic collapse, which he caused on
Which he
purpose,
caused, right?
he went to Supreme Minister John Muhammad. He asked his uncle pertaining to the debt. The Supreme Minister John Muhammad told him, just don't change the name.
Mm.
So what Wallace did after he found out how to take care of it, he changed the name.
Mm-hmm.
When they came about the hospital, he said, we ain't on that no more. He not on building the hospital no more. So he meant to destroy that, but that's how the government worked.
Yeah.
Because you have to think about it. Even in this day and time, with all of this madness going on, all of this madness, the number one attack in the Islamic world against the Nation of Islam is from other black people.
Yep.
Listen, the hatred against the NOI is taught by other black people.
Yep.
Listen now, they don't teach nothing pertaining to the suffering of black people, the deaths of black people. How many of them do you see teaching that black women are not given the birth to replace their dead? So therefore, the men are on the brink of extinction. How many of them teach? Or any of these millions of things that is going on, but the number one thing out of their mouth is that the Nation of Islam are not Muslims. They are Catholics. They are non-believers. They don't care anything about the struggle of black people in America or throughout the world. I mean, absolutely nothing. That's because the person that governs them do not care nothing about black people in America. You see? So we're dealing with a system, but I'm going to stick to the subject. I can't wait to go deeper into this thing because the brother stated inside the lecture thing, he want that thing to get deeper in that Quran of Allah being a man in Islam. So the next time we get in that discussion, we're going to stick strictly into that book. And we will show it through that book because it needs to be known in that book. Just like we're going to come straight out of Islam for a fact to show who the jinn is.
Yeah.
And that they were sitting up there in the Caucasus Mountains. Yeah, we're going to prove that. But of course, some boys in the East ain't going to teach that, even though in the earlier text, they clearly made it clear who they were. And it definitely wasn't black people. We definitely not the jinn.
Yeah.
That's definite. But see, whenever it goes to pointing in that direction, they automatically make it into a spiritual thing. But they had to use hadith in order to usurp the Quranic meaning.
There's rules with that too, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because the hadith has to be sahih, right? And a lot of the Jones that they use to usurp that history is actually da'if or weak.
Yeah,
but we definitely gonna get into this.
We're gonna touch it. We're gonna touch that. But we're gonna come straight out the books.
So your days is You
hear me, brother Captain?
I can hear you.
So ask the brother Captain, ask the brother Prime is his days Wednesday. What days
so
can he
the God is asking, is your days Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday is cool. Usually I'm not working my second job. I always give you a head up on that day. Sometimes they might pull me in. I'll probably be working tomorrow. And sometimes I skip Friday and I work Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, brother.
Ain't nothing spooky. Whenever time God in the plains of Mamre, he ate some veal, some bread, and some cool milk. and was sitting under a tree. You know what I mean? And Abraham was ready to wash his feet.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes,
I'm
sir.
trying to figure out where that guy at.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. You know, what about them 3 guys that showed up?
they didn't turn the cartoon figure into God, boy.
You know, them 3 guys.
This book here, Sheikh, this book right here, the Arabic that's in it, you'd be surprised how much of that stuff that's in there corroborates our position, right? You know, when you read it from a non-spooky, unadulterated street vibe, like the Arabs who was first given it in Arabia before it became Saudi Arabia, right? You know, when Medina was still called Yathrib, you know, it's a deep science in this joint, man. You know, you could tell our people wrote that or inspired it. You know what I mean? You know, the language, you know, about the angels. There's a John, I think it's 98, right? Where they use the term Zabaniya, right? Zabaniya, right? And they say they call them angels, the angels that drag you to hell, right? But when you look the word Zabaniya up in Hansware Dictionary, it calls them Meradomes, the Meradomes. When you look up Meradomes in a collegiate dictionary, the Meradomes were soldiers in the army of Troy that accompanied Achilles there. So I'm like, how are you describing European soldiers, mercenaries, as angels? This history in this book that people don't pay no attention to, right? Because again, all they want you to do is pray, fast, and pilgrimage, and close your eyes to the long history of wars that were fought while this book was being compiled. You know what I mean? And, you know, Wallace did that with the nation. Wallace took out all the elements of struggle in what we were standing up against. And he turned the people to prayer, fasting, and pilgrimage. And that's all that community has now. Prayer, fasting, pilgrimage. Every now and then they might get on some business shit. But that ain't because that's what's preached. That's because that's in them. It's just a half-truth and a whole lie. They promote the lie, but they cling to the half-truth. That's what Christians do. Most Christians have never read the entire Bible. When they want to make an excuse for something they're doing, they push the narrative of the whole lie. But in order to keep their sanity, right, they hang on to that half-truth. That which rightfully caused them. You know, like Jesus made a sacrifice. You know, the one thing in Jesus' teaching that you rarely find Christians preaching? Jesus said, greater love have no man than this, that a man laid down his life for his friends. Show me a Christian that exemplifies that principle. Did you hear me?
Yes, sir.
He said, greater love have no man than this, that a man would lay down his life for his friend. Show me a Christian that exemplifies that principle. Prophet Muhammad got stabbed up on the battlefield
They don't teach this history. He was on the battlefield and told somebody to watch the flank. They looked over the flank and seen everybody collecting booty and left their posts. And the enemy came back around, got in through the flank, and got hold of the prophet and stabbed him up. That's some real history. He survived, but he later succumbed to poison. You know, mystery. Why did the mystery guy say, don't eat that? You was poisoned? I'm curious about that. The mystery guy can tell you that your wife is playing a game with you with the stuff you eating and reveal a verse against that. But he didn't reveal the verse to let you know that you was getting ready to eat some poison.
Mm.
And that's not a swing at the prophet. That's a swing at history.
That's a swing at the narrative.
So to take you away from spooky shit. He really died because somebody really poisoned him, which means the people that was around him didn't put proper security around him. Y'all know they was trying to gun for this man. Y'all should have tasted his food.
Mm.
That's some real shit right there. That knocks all that spooky shit out the window. They were men standing up in a time when they were burying girl babies in the sand, treating women like whores. They'd turn around and say to their wife 3 times, you're divorced, and she don't get no rights. And the prophet came and brought an end to all of that. And that's the type of stuff that gotta be told. I don't want to hear no shit that if slobber came out of his mouth, the companions would grab it and eat it. That's nasty.
That's savage.
That's some nasty shit right there. I don't believe, one, that the prophet was, slobbering from his mouth. I don't accept that. They tell all these fancy ass stories. I know the difference between some real shit and some shit somebody made up just to juke me along. That's some juke shit right there. And we have to talk to the people like that. We got to use the same tenor in our tone and expressing the truth that comes across. You ever notice, like when people do a live reading, some people reading is just dry, it's monotone. And then other people, when they read and follow the punctuation so that it has emotion behind what they read, and everybody be on their chair listening. That's how the Quran's supposed to be. You're supposed to read that joint and it affect you because you can relate to what people was experiencing. Not just on the page, but off the page. You say, oh shit. They going through the same shit I was going through. Oh, that's how they dealt with that? That's how I'm supposed to deal with this. But that's not what's being taught. You know what's being taught? Prayer, fasting, and pilgrimage. That's it.
That's a fact.
And every now and then, sadaqah. But where that sadaqah at? We need that sadaqah. It's zakat time. Get that sadaqah up. Prayer, fasting, and pilgrimage. And these are good institutions, but they're dangerous if that's all you teach. If you teach the people, that's the only way to salvation. They killed your nephew, and they said, baby, you got to pray. I've been praying, then you need to fast. I'm this bastard. You need to go on the pilgrimage. I don't mean to make light of that shit, but I'm like, cut it out. I'll be like, they kill who? Strap up. You know what I mean? I'm from the street. I ain't trying to hear that shit. You know what I mean? They ain't what they said when the prophet got hit up. They ain't say you gotta pray, you gotta fast, make hides. No, they said, who did it? Where he at? I mean, we got to get back. But Mr. Salim, you just say we gotta put the muscle back in the body, man.
Yes, sir.
You gotta put the muscle back in the body.
Yes, sir.
Do a push-up or something.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We need a little bit of Smith, and he need to have some Wesson with him.
Yes. Hey, yo.
I'm getting up off this joint before I get y'all in trouble.
Hey, yo, man, I love it. I love it. I love it,
I can't
bro.
hear Khalil.
Khalil. Hey, yo.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, man, this has been a beautiful dialogue, brothers. And I know it's getting late. We've been on 2 hours and 26
I can't hear
minutes.
you either.
Well, I've been on 20. We've been on 22 hours and 26 minutes. So, brothers, listen. Next show, like next Wednesday, we back on with the brother Prime Minister, and we're gonna make it happen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And yo,
Islam, Moed.
Islam, Mo. And listen, and I can't wait to get you back on, bro. I cannot wait.
He said he can't wait to get you back on, God.
Ain't no doubt, bro.
You have to check that computer, God, to make sure your mic stay working.
Hey, yo, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, my joint working.
I'm gonna try to, instead of being on my laptop next time, I'm gonna put it on my iMac. I think that might be better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, listen, guys.
Yeah, don't use your iPhone.
I can't hear words you're saying, God.
Hey,
I
yo,
said, don't
guys.
use your iPhone.
I should have known that's what you said.
I don't got nothing. Hey, yo,
that
bro.
might have been what it was too.
I don't got one of them
might have been
Jones.
listening.
I don't got one of them Jones neither. I don't do the iPhone demonstration.
Android only, baby.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I gotta go though, bro. It's been a pleasure. God
Yes,
willing,
sir.
I'll see y'all next week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, yo, God, I'm finna touch out. Go ahead and get ready for tomorrow. But I love y'all, brothers, man. Great acquaintance, brother Prime Minister. I truly appreciate this bill. And I hope that we can do this again Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm excited. You know, I'm excited. I'm finna go back and do some
I
studying.
can't hear a word y'all saying.
You know. Yes, sir.
Don't worry, he's just saying that he's excited, God.
All right, that's what's up. That's
Yes,
what's
sir.
up.
So, I'm gonna let y'all know. See y'all next time. Peace and love.
Peace to the true and livings.
Peace, Almighty.
Salam Allah.
Salam.
Islam.
Allah salam.
Peace, gods.
Peace, God.